Artificial intelligence is a truly incredible technology and certainly the key theme, I suspect, of our time, and it has both short-term and long-term consequences. And in the short run, very visibly, we've seen this remarkable surge in capital expenditures as hyperscaling companies are building out their models, and that has been to the enormous benefit of many hardware companies and data center companies. And so a great deal of money and stock market valuation has already been created on the back of this theme. It's worth recognizing, even in the short term, there are some losers as well. And so we've seen some sectors identified as potentially being disrupted by the artificial intelligence. And so software companies most visibly have seen their valuations decline on that basis. So winners and losers, even in the short run, over the long run, I think the stakes just get even higher. And to be perfectly frank, it's impossible to speak with complete conviction or clarity on where exactly this goes. We've been thinking very much in a scenario type of context. And so it could be that artificial intelligence is a big deal, but doesn't radically remake the world. And so you end up with moderately faster productivity growth. And that's perhaps helpful for the economy and for investors more generally, but could actually be disappointing for the companies building out the AI that they have such great hopes for. Not the most likely scenario, but in the realm of possibility. We think the most likely scenario is this is truly a major general purpose technology of the sort that does change how society operates, how people live their lives, how businesses operate. We think that there's a very good chance this actually boosts productivity quite significantly, which is code for corporate profits and rising prosperity and these sorts of things. Whenever this kind of technology comes along, it does displace workers, so there's some pain. However, historically, it hasn't created a structurally higher unemployment rate. The prosperity and the opportunity the technology creates has historically allowed other opportunities to come along, and so it's not automatic that the labor market loses, though that is very much in focus right now. And I suppose the third scenario is the radical one, and the one that says perhaps this is just an unprecedented disruption unlike prior technologies, and it's moving so quickly, it can self-improve, it can get rid of the good jobs, not the bad jobs, and so maybe this is completely different. And again, you would say, well, if that's true, there could be truly astonishing productivity gains, and it could be very, very good for investors, at least in a variety of sectors, including, importantly, AI users, not just the producers of the AI. But it does create some very concerning issues, perhaps for workers, in the scenario in which workers could be much less needed than in the past. And so we've generally thought that if that were the path that AI ends up taking, policymakers, of course, would not be pleased if unemployment was rising significantly. And there are mechanisms such as taxing compute or taxing AI that can probably strike some semblance of balance between the needs of workers and the desire for productivity gains. And so in the end, though, it's fair to say that the labor market is a particular question mark right now. I would say that arguments that AI is already displacing large numbers of workers, probably mostly unfounded, but that is a risk. And so we step back and look to the long run, probably faster productivity growth, probably good for investors, more again of a question mark on the labor market side. Not automatic, maybe is a key point that the labor market suffers here. That has not been the fate of workers with other major technological advancements.